Hi, I'm Daniel Mitri, coming to you from our newsroom at Humber's North Campus. Thanks for joining us. Here's what's making news this hour. Days after the United Nations imposed their latest sanctions against North Korea, U.S. President Donald Trump has released a statement. Trump praised tougher action against North Korea in a tweet today, saying after many years of failure, countries are coming together to finally address the dangers posed by North Korea. We must be tough and decisive. Trump's words come on the heels of the UN Security Council imposing new sanctions against North Korea, which were announced on August 5th. Sanctions were imposed in the wake of Pyongyang's testing of an intercontinental missile that allegedly is capable of reaching the U.S. The international response is aiming to pressure Pyongyang to end its nuclear program. Kenyan elections are drawing to a close today, with millions of voters lining up to cast their votes. Many waited hours ahead of the polls opening to make sure their vote was counted. Current President Uhuru Kenyatta was among them. Kenyatta is the son of Kenya's founding president. He is running for a second term against former political prisoner Raila Odinga, who is making his fourth bid for the presidency. The country is braced for potential violence if election results are contested. After the 2007 election, more than 1,000 people were killed and more than 500,000 displaced after the Odinga-led opposition claimed election results were rigged. The United Nations has released findings on Venezuela's human rights violations as tensions continues to simmer. The UN has been carrying out a remote investigation through the months of June and July. The report says responsibility for human rights violations lies at the highest level of government. UN spokeswoman Ravina Shamdasani says escalation of violence is concerning.
The High Commissioner says that these violations have occurred amid a breakdown in the rule of law in Venezuela, with constant attacks by the government against the National Assembly and the Attorney General's office.
Since April, tens of thousands of Venezuelans have taken to the streets to protest the government's growing authoritarianism. The government has responded with a brutal crackdown. Security forces have shot demonstrators with rubber bullets, used armed vehicles to run over protesters, brutally beaten people who offered no resistance, and broken into homes of suspected opponents. Notorious Holocaust denier Ernst Zundel died from a heart attack on Sunday, according to his wife. Zundel, who lived in Canada before being deported to Germany to face prosecution, operated a business and published Nazi propaganda before being convicted of spreading false news in 1985. In 2005, a federal court ruled that Zundel was a national threat due to his connections with white supremacist and neo-Nazi groups. This resulted in his extradition. After his extradition, Zundel was convicted of 14 counts of incitement of racial hatred and received a 5-year sentence in 2007. Zundel was freed in 2010. Drake kicked off the 8th annual OVO Fest this week, surprising fans by bringing the icon of the Six on stage with him. The rapper wowed the crowd when he appeared on top of a replica of the CN Tower. According to tweets from fans inside the show, Drake approached 19 different companies before one agreed to build a massive atOVO stage prop. Drake was joined by surprise guests including The Weeknd, Travis Scott, Migos, and a slew of other star-studded artists. During the show, Drake also announced that he's working on a new album, saying, quote, "I'm going to go back to making this new album in Toronto just for you." A new study from Montreal's McGill University says Airbnb rentals may be affecting Canada's housing market by lowering available housing stock and increasing rent. The study also says a small number of property owners generate a majority of Airbnb's overall revenue in Canada's 3 largest cities. Airbnb has disputed the claims, saying the author of the studies, David Wachsmuth, has a history of manipulating scraped data and is misrepresenting Airbnb hosts. Wachsmuth has responded by saying the study used the best information publicly available. Wachsmuth has proposed suggesting to regulate services like Airbnb. Looks like more summer weather this week. Hibba Trabulsi has our weather forecast.
Thanks, Dan. After a rainy long weekend, we're going to have a couple of sunny days to start off the week. Today we've got a high of 25 and a low of 18. On Wednesday, more of the same. The weather shows a high of 26 and a low of 18. Once again, on Thursday, prepare for a high of 26 and a low of 20. Right back to you.
Thanks, Hiba. We leave you today with this. Thousands of spectators filled the streets of Sri Lanka's capital city, Kandy, to take the annual Asala Perahera parade. The century-old tradition honors the sacred tooth relic of the Buddha, which is carried by an elephant to the ancient temple of the tooth. The march is 3.5 kilometers long and features a procession of dancers, drummers, and fire acrobats. Sporting elaborate costumes, these gentle giants sure know how to work a catwalk. That's all for today. I'm Daniel Mitri. Remember, you can head to humbernews.ca anytime for all the day's news and much more. And of course, you can always follow us on Twitter. Humber News is written and produced by students in the Journalism Postgrad program. We'll see you again next time.